Right, morning guys. Yeah, got a few jobs to do today on my van. So basically going to give it an oil change today. I tend to do an oil change every 10,000 miles. So I'll be doing that on the van. Also my side door, I've been putting it off for a very long time. Since I bought the van, the side door rail and the roller at the bottom is like very badly worn, but it's getting a lot worse now. So I can't lock the van properly because the door's dropped. So I'm going to do an oil change, repairs for the sliding door, and if I've got time, I need to do a fuel filter and also a temperature sensor on the Mark 2 Golf. Yeah, so going to crack on with that today, see how we go. Thanks for watching. Right guys, just going to show you what I use for my van. So my van's a 2006 Renault Trafic 1.9 DCI diesel. So I use this. Man oil is really good. Buy it off eBay. It's quite cheap. It's less than 20 quid for 5 litres. The van takes 5 litres. I always use Bosch oil filters just because you know, Bosch is a good make. And this time I'm going to use some engine flush because basically I had a problem with the van, which I'll show you in a sec. Yeah, so basically I had a problem with the decanter down here. This van's got like a built-in sort of catch can that breathes. So basically that was blocked up. So the oil was breathing around that little pipe there back into the turbo intake. So it was actually using quite a bit of oil due to that being blocked up. So since I've unblocked it, I took it all apart and cleaned it out. I've done probably about 500 miles and it hasn't used a drop of oil. So that's a good repair. So I'm just going to put the engine flush in as a good measure. Because I'm doing the oil change, just from good measure, just as any deposits or any crap's made its way into the oil. Right, so now that's in there, we allow 5 to 10 minutes idling, and then you can do the oil change. Right, just to give you an idea of what you got to do, so I'm making a start on this. So basically push the trim off, and then the rubber bung comes out of there, and then that nut there you have to take out of there. And then you've got these 2 nuts here to undo. It's a good idea to support the door so it doesn't completely drop. I mean, it does stay in place with the other runners, but it's a good idea just to support it, be on the safe side. You can see how mullered mine are. I mean, that's probably pretty bad. My actual rail's knackered as well. It's pretty worn. So what I'm doing is I'm swapping it over for a new one. Got a new rail. Just to show you what it's meant to look like. Yeah, so it's well overdue. It was like it when I bought the van, but it's just got worse and worse, and obviously it's a job I've been putting off for a little while. So yeah, I'll see you in a sec. Right, to get this rail off, you basically got these torque bits here. So there's one, you've got to take the stop off first. There's one there and one there. Then you've got to take off 3 here, 1, 2, 3. And then there's actually a bolt underneath the van, under here. Under the van, you've got to get up into that hole there. And that undoes the fixing behind there. So then basically it comes out. You can see what I'm talking about there. It's a size 10 under there. Yeah, so I'm going to clean all this up and then put all the new parts on, and hopefully my door should actually lock and close better. But you can see where the door's been rubbing, and on there as well. So yeah, it was well overdue. I've just been putting it off for such a long time, but yeah, it could be like a new door after this. So that's the nice new shiny door railing, virtually brand new. This one, I got it off eBay. Pretty happy with this, so should make a difference. Next is to put the stop on. Mine's actually a little bit seized up, so I'm just trying to free it off at the moment. It should do that, but it's not. It's doing that. Right, so that's the stop on now. So I've lubricated that up. Next job is to get this off. It's got like a special type of pin on it that doesn't want to come off. The new one has actually got a nut and a bolt, so it bolts together. But this one's sort of like pressed in, so I can either drill that out, or I can just get an angle grinder and zip across there, and it should all just come off quite easily. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to zip it off with an angle grinder. There you go. So yeah, the pin is actually part of the bracket on one side, so just zip one side off of the angle grinder. Be careful you don't cut through the actual bracket itself, but then the roller section actually just comes straight off. So easy peasy. Yeah, the new one literally goes together like that. So that's a pretty good idea. Like I say, the old one is a bracket that sort of goes together, but this one obviously bolts together. Right, and there we go. Door actually lines up now. Feels like a new door. So next job is to replace this worn handle. Right, so to get the external door handle off, there's basically two mechanisms. There's an internal mechanism and obviously the mechanism for the door outside. So what you've got to do, the fixings for the outside handle are behind this mechanism. So you've got to take 1, 2, 3 off, and then drop that mechanism down to get access to the bolts through there. Obviously, some of you might have a door card. My door card pops off. You basically got some little plastic clips. The handle comes off as well, and the little lock piece is just pulls off. Yes, I'll go ahead and take these bolts out, and then I'll show you where I am next. Right, so basically once you've undone those there, you can push the internal mechanism down out the way, and then you get access to the bolt in there and one in there. That basically holds the outside door handle on. So I'll get those undone and show you what's next, because there's another mechanism. Obviously, like I say, you've got 2 wires there, one for the internal, one for the external handle. They don't work off the same mechanism as two separate mechanisms. Yeah, I'll show you. Right, so once you've undone those 2 bolts, this mechanism comes off like that. So what happens basically is that pin works its way loose. You can knock the pin back in, but I've got a new handle to replace it with. So yeah, all you've got to do is basically pop this out and then put the new mechanism in. Right, so here's the new one. So you can see that little ball there has to slot into there, and then the cable goes in there and that clips into there. And then it's a case of just pushing it back in and putting the nuts back on. Right, so there we go, job done. It was a little bit fiddly, it's actually quite fiddly getting the bolts in for this. You have to sort of push it from that side as you get the bolt in, but much improved. Job done. Right, another little job I'm doing today, swapping over the temperature sensor for the ECU on the Golf. Basically you've got two temperature sensors here. The front one sends a signal to the dash, to the clock, so you can see the temperature on the dial, and the second one there sends the signal to the ECU on this car, so it knows when the engine's up to temperature it stops running rich. It's quite a common failure on these cars, and it can sort of mess about with the running of it. I'm pretty sure it's not quite right, the one that I've got on there. So they're not that expensive, so I've bought a proper Hella one off eBay, about 13 quid. Swap it over and see if it makes any difference to the running of the car. The connector's not very good either, so I'm going to get rid of this connector and do basically similar to what I've done there with just the crimps. So it works, it does the job, so we'll do that as well. Right, so what I've done, I've put the new sensor in and I've made off some new connectors, so we'll see if it makes a difference. Yeah, I didn't film that bit. It's definitely made an improvement. What I've noticed is the revs like hunt a little bit when it's cold, but it definitely it's made an improvement. So I think there's obviously something else that's not quite right somewhere, so I have to keep looking, but it's definitely moving forward. I'm going to replace the fuel filter next, because I don't know when it was last changed, and the car came with one when I bought it, so like 2 years ago, so I don't know when it's changed. So I'm going to do that and then see where we're at. Right, so next I'm going to have a go at replacing the fuel filter. So the fuel pump is on this side, under the car. As you can see there. So I'm hoping I can replace that fairly easily. Right, I've got the new fuel filter in place. That side's already on. I just got to do this side now. It's bolted through the bracket. Yeah, put that on there and it'll be good to go. Right, anyway, that's the new fuel filter done. So you have to get under the car, and it's that clamp and then those two Jubilee clips either side. It's funny because the new one's got a little bit of corrosion on it because it's been sat in the garage for so long. But yeah, it's a fresh one anyway. There we go. Anyway, there you go, guys. Productive day. So I've managed to do the oil change and replaced all the side door runners and rollers and handle on the van, and I've done the sensor and the fuel filter on the Golf. So yeah, not bad. Managed to get a lot done today. Happy days.